that I want to present today. So we know from our members that last semester we ran the newsletter pilot thanks to Nitesh efforts, and it's been great that people really appreciate that, and we noticed that many people find it helpful. So that when we were thinking about how to sustain this effort, we have and Tora can probably recall, we have some extensive discussion on how we want to move this forward in a way that is sustainable, that in a way that people can always benefit it. So I talked to many officers and members, and then today I think we are going to present a solution that can potentially make this sustainable. And the philosophy behind that is that the how question is more important than the what question. Because in the last semester, the newsletter we sent out, those are basically like a secondary source of information that we gathered from our own sources. So for example, for me, when I was putting things on that newsletter, most of those, they came from either my personal connections or from the newsletters that I subscribe. And then what I did was I put those information that I think people may be benefiting from those into a Word document, and then I send that to Nitesh, and then he sent it out. So in this way, what you can see is that instead of the newsletters from us, what is more important is the primary source of information, like how Nitesh and I and others who contributed to the newsletter get our first hand, right? Get the first, the primary source of the information. And this is the reason why we want to do it a different way so that we can sustain these efforts. So what we are going to do is what we have done is we generated a crowdsourced, updated, real-time and periodically newsletter shared document. And so there's like a demonstration there. So I'm going to make it larger. So what you see here is that like each individual cell, that's like a link. So for example, if you want to know more about like webinars from other universities, then you can go to this column, and then it has some information. For example, the MIT Center for Transportation and Logistics. And what you find is that every link that is there, once you click into the link, there is always like an option that you can subscribe to their newsletter. So that in this way, you can choose whatever that interests you and then subscribe to that so that information will get right into you, and you can customize this experience by yourself. Because when we were doing the newsletter last semester, we were not sure which information people find helpful, which information people want to see, or whether or not this is like whether or not we are flooding people with information. So in this way, you can customize your experience, and you can also provide the sources that you think are going to benefit everyone. So what the ITE and WTS administration is going to do is we will keep updating this newsletters periodically, and then we will ask for people's feedback. Okay, which link do you think is most helpful, or maybe like what column is missing? So right now, based on the structure, we have different columns. We have we cover university webinars and news, transportation in general, public transportation, autonomous and connected vehicles, electric vehicles, shared mobility, micro-mobility, and other topics. And also we have color coding to indicate what is the, what is the type of the information. Is it from the research institute like MIT, UC Berkeley, UC Davis? Is it from the public sector? Is it from NGO, a non-profit? Is it from like a private company like Uber and Bird, or other categories? And yeah, so this is like a pilot we are trying to do this semester, and hopefully that people will find it helpful and add more information following this format, so that at the end of the day, this is going to benefit everyone. And hopefully when the next administrative team takes over, they can also like build on this existing efforts to make it better. So this is our plan, and I will send out the link to this document soon, and people will have the time to to contribute and to benefit from it. Yeah, so that's it. Any questions people have
Yeah, I've
on
got
that?
a quick question.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, you're saying that pretty much anybody can contribute and add new sources to this as well, or just we should just let it be updated by
Anyone, like anyone, if
okay.
you anyone at any time, if you feel like okay,
Okay,
this is a great source that you can
I
just
see.
contribute, and then the ITE and WTS we will check periodically to see new updates, and then just to make it look better in terms of format, and that's it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, cool. So I think this will be helpful. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
I guess this is like a good idea to compile the sources. I guess like one thing we struggled last time was trying to like summarize all the information we got into like one newsletter.
Yeah, yeah.
One thing that I was thinking of, like we also summarized like what are the workshop that is about to happen, call for abstracts, scholarships, and maybe even like major events. So maybe it might still be a good idea to like just send out a like bi-weekly newsletter just summarizing those events.
Yeah. I get your point. The reason why we are not doing that is that I asked among our officers, and then I said we need to address this because people still want to receive the message biweekly. But then I had some difficulties trying to secure labor or people trying to do that. So um, so that's why we turn it to this way. But I get your point that the workshop and scholarship, those information are also helpful. So I think what we're going to do is on this spreadsheet, we will add two columns, and then one is about like specifically about conferences, and the other is about scholarship. And the other thing we are going to do is that we will assign officers to check and update this spreadsheet, maybe weekly or bi-weekly. And then if they notice something, they will send out a newsletter. Yeah, right after they check the spreadsheet.
Okay, sounds great. If you guys need like like trying to figure out what would be the most efficient workflow to send out newsletters, then I think I can help on that. And based on my experience, once you have a shared Google Doc and if you have information compiled, sending out newsletter is just like like 10-minute work. So it's not a lot of work.
Yeah. Thanks in advance. Yeah, I have. Yeah, I will follow up that with you. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. All right. You're welcome.
Great. Any other